The Skrulls are just fighting for a home.
I'll help you find a home.
In Marvel's Secret Invasion, a big catalyst for the conflict comes from the failed promises of Nick Fury and Carol Danvers, who had vowed to search the universe for a new home for the displaced Skrulls. But not only have the Skrulls that were here been able to find anywhere else to go, but all the other Skrulls out there have now come to Earth as well. So what gives? Why haven't Nick Fury and Captain Marvel found a home for them yet? We have seen so many different planets in the MCU thus far. Surely one of them would have fit as an option for the Skrulls. Well, I've been looking through all the different planets that we have seen thus far in the MCU, and I have found exactly one planet that I think fits the bill for the Skrulls. And that planet is Earth. So let's take a look at the different options the Skrulls have and why I actually feel like they don't have a choice right now, and Earth is really their only option. Now, the first place we'd want to look would be somewhere that is accepting of diverse people, could potentially be willing to take in refugees, and ideally wouldn't have an indigenous people of their own that this large number of Skrulls would have to kind of compete with. And luckily we have a planet that fits that bill to a T. And that planet's nowhere. Well, it's somewhere, but it's nowhere. I'm talking about this place here. The problem is, this really is not a very good option for them long term. The Skrulls aren't just looking for a place they can go, they're looking for a place where they can settle down and thrive and be safe. You see, nowhere already has people living there, and it is not a very large area. If there are 1 million plus Skrulls currently out there looking for a home, well, nowhere is just, it's too populated and too small to suddenly house that large of an influx of people. And if we look at the history of nowhere, we're not sure it's a very good place for the Skrull children to have to go live. You see, it had been under the control of the Collector for a while, up until it was bought by the Guardians of the Galaxy. And the Guardians started fixing it up and cleaning it up. It went from an area where people could bet on animals fighting each other and where things were a mess, to suddenly this much cleaner city under the Guardians. And once it starts finally becoming a place that could potentially be habitable for at least some of the Skrulls to go start settling down, well, then they get their own influx of individuals looking for a home elsewhere. So Nowhere never actually sits in a position where it can accept the Skrulls and be a good location for them, either because it's really not fit for their children, or because it's already full. Well, if they can't go to Nowhere, they've got to go somewhere. And no, I will never get tired of that joke. You see, the problem with Nowhere was that it was too small and too populated to be able to house the 1 million plus Skrulls that are looking for a home. But we do see a planet that looks like it's thriving with lots of flora and fauna, lots of plants that could potentially be edible. And we see this planet is not heavily populated, if it's populated at all. And we see that it has breathable air. And this is the planet that Thanos retires to after the snap. After he snaps away half of all life, he goes off to this distant planet and he settles down and becomes a farmer. Well, this planet is still there. This planet is still accessible. So why can't the Skrulls just go there? The thing is, there are a couple of reasons why this is not ideal either. This planet looks amazing for a new group to come in and cultivate and to thrive. But the problem is, what were the Skrulls fleeing from initially? They're not looking for a place where they can just go and live and keep to themselves, because they're still being hunted by the Kree. The Kree have said that
the cell of Skrulls anywhere is a threat to Kree everywhere.
If the Kree are looking for the Skrulls in order to wipe them off, well, how long would it take for them to realize that the Skrulls have all congregated on this planet? This planet that did not have an infrastructure already, and they're trying to get it off the ground. They're working hard to make it their own, which means they're distracted and relatively unprotected. It would take no time at all for the Kree to come in and just wipe the Skrulls out. And this lies the problem here. This planet looks great, but it is not well defended or defensible. There's nobody there to fight against the Kree should the Kree decide to attack it. And therein lies the big issue for the Skrulls. They can't go to a lesser developed or undeveloped planet because they need somewhere that they can feel protected and safe. They can't go to a well-developed or advanced planet because those planets are already full of their own people, and there isn't space for them. So what do the Skrulls need? They need a planet that is not too far advanced to be overfull, a planet that doesn't have advanced enough technology to be able to detect them and hunt them down, but they also need a planet with great defenses, that if some outside invaders decide they want to attack this planet, they'd have to think twice about it. And that really comes down to just one option: Earth. You see, at this point, Earth is not advanced enough to be competing with these other planets in their technology. Earth is still very local in regards to their space travel. All the space travel we see from humans at this point in the MCU are humans that are hitching rides with other species. So the human race is a prime species for the Skrulls to intersperse with, to hide amongst. The thing is, despite our lack of technology, despite how unadvanced we are compared to so many other species and so many other planets out there, we are a stronghold. Any other species would face annihilation if they came against the forces that are here on Earth. You see, once Asgard fell, we became the home of New Asgard, and Asgardians are fierce. We have a hidden, relatively, civilization in Wakanda that does have some advanced technology, that can quickly grow to match threats as they come up. And we are the home of Captain Marvel herself, who has shown to be this great guardian, this great hero that flies from galaxy to galaxy helping people as needed. She has so much power that so many would come to fear her, including the Kree. And the fact that this is her homeworld? Well, to attack the homeworld of Captain Marvel
is to court death.
All this is to say, no, I don't think Fury and Captain Marvel have simply abandoned the Skrulls and given up on this search. I just think the realization at this point is that Earth really is the safest place for them. At least temporarily. The Kree are still out there. And as we'll see in the Marvels, the coming movie in November, I think we're going to see that Carol Danvers is still fighting against the Kree. And until the Kree can be held in check, I don't think the Skrulls are really going to be safe anywhere else. So that's why I think that Earth is really the only place that's a viable option right now for the Skrulls. So what do you think? Is there some planet out there that you can see that could still work for the Skrulls that I might be missing? Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to be able to consider some options I might have overlooked. And until next time, thank you for watching.